In football, while the referee reserves the right to sack any player who goes against the laws governing the game, the coach, on the other hand, determines who gets to play and what role he plays. This may be true about the governorship candidates of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and the People's Democratic Party in Taraba State. In a recent court ruling, has sparked lots of reactions from party chieftains in the states. The Court of Appeal upheld the primaries that produced Senator Emmanuel Boacha of the APC and Colonel Agbu Kefas of the PDP in Taraba State. TVC News Owolabi Adenusi filed in this report.
It appears it is not yet Uhuru for the APC and PDP in Taraba State. Mixed views have been expressed by the party chieftain over the court judgment. The Director General of the Campaign Committee of the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the state, David Kente, told TVC News that his principal may end up at the Supreme Court if the party internal mechanism fail to address their grievances. He is supported by a chieftain of the party who insists that the battle is far from being over.
Our principal, Chief David Sabo Kente, is going to meet with his team of lawyers, study the case, and liaise with the party in order to arrive at the best decision for the party.
I might not say the appeal court has visionary defect, but at least two heads are better than one. So if the two courts, the Federal High Court in Jalingo, that is Taraba State, and the High Court in Abuja, have all affirmed that there was no conduct of primary election in Taraba State, that is APC primary election in Taraba State, then it means the two heads cannot all be wrong. But if an appeal court is keeping the case aside, we all believe that court is the eyes of the law. So we wouldn't know the focal length the appeal court used in disallowing two courts that have ruled in favor of the reality.
The PR to the ruling PDP in the state notes that the court judgment is a testament that PDP did the right thing during its primaries. It says the road is now clear for the candidate to start campaigning fully.
The People's Democratic Party Taraba State chapter is delighted to take this time to thank the judiciary most profoundly for her two great verdicts that have clearly vindicated the party in the state and her processes that threw up our governorship candidate.
The leadership of the two major political parties in Taraba are in the process of appealing to their aggrieved members to shed their swords.
We'll continue to experience this ahead of the 2023 election.
Of course.
What we've always been talking about, internal democracy within these political parties, and by the time they try to take their case to the judiciary, to courts, and we'll start seeing this.
I was listening to that APC member who was saying that how could two courts, one in Abuja, the other one in Jalingo, affirm that primaries didn't take place in the real sense of the word. Governorship primaries didn't take place. And then appeal court will say that both of them are wrong. Of course, it's possible for appeal court to say both courts were wrong. But it underlines the need to look thoroughly at the facts of that matter. Because the appeal court can do whatever it likes. If the matter gets to Supreme Court, the music may change. And that is why, in my view, it is better for the party to find a way to resolve these issues instead of going to allowing the court to decide, because sometimes the court can decide and you discover that you don't even have a candidate in the election. If the final court takes a decision, you and I know that it is final. Nobody can do anything about it. Now, look at what happened in Zamfara. If Kabiru Marafa, Yari, Lawan, Dada Lawan, and the rest of them had agreed to resolve their differences, would APC have lost out totally as it did, despite winning all of the elections? But they were not allowed. They lost those opportunities. People that they had defeated were the ones who got to Senate, who got to House of Reps, and everywhere. At every turn, they lost out. So I'm looking at what is happening. In Taraba, they have been on this issue for some time. Senator Buacha for some time now, Senator Buacha and some people who contested against him have been at daggers drawn. It is important to have the matter resolved, because at the end of the day, if one of the parties or two of the parties feel wronged, feel offended, of course they are going to work against the interest of the party. Definitely. You can win in court, but you may not win the election. Yes. If you do not reconcile with your fellow contestants. So it's still, no one can say exactly what will happen at the level of Supreme Court. But I just hope that when Supreme Court eventually, because the way it's looking, these guys will get to Supreme Court unless the party leaders are able to convince them to stop things at this stage.
And I hope they will be able to get accelerated hearing before the election. At the Supreme Court.
Look at Supreme Court said, for example, that in Ogun State that they should go and do fresh trial of the matter. Of course, that will take time. So, but the point that I'm making is around up is, by the time Supreme Court takes its own decision, the Supreme Court is not obligated to toe the line of the appeal court. We've seen that happen so many times.
At all.
So you may have emerged at the level of the appeal court, but
not yet to Uhuru.
It's not yet to Uhuru. And God help you if the Supreme Court then takes a decision so late in the day, the party may suffer for it, because at that point there is no room for any remedy.
What internal democracy within these political parties, and as we head towards the election, is the court. The court now will now be deciding who will fly the flag of the party at the end of the day.
Well, I
Since
think
they couldn't do it through
what we have
diplomacy.
seen in Taraba, it shows that the two parties are not free from internal contradictions. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a third force that is strong enough to feast on the division, between the two parties. I think it's quite unfortunate that what we are
some
seeing.
people say the Labour Party will feast.
I think that is very remote. Looking at precedents in Taraba State. I think it shows that the two parties don't have a very strong internal mechanism to resolve crisis. It's always better to use the party machinery to resolve any contradiction within the party. Because of what we have seen, like Babajide said, the court is going to look at technicalities. There's a likelihood that the ruling of the court may not necessarily produce the most popular candidate. So it's always better, for the political parties to come together as if they have elders. Because in those days, when you have UPN and MPN, we hardly had this kind of...
it will move out of the party.
Leadership
the
takes
party will
decision.
resolve it before it goes to court.
Anybody that goes against that decision is on his own. So in this case, you find a situation where, the kind of crisis will be lasting, lingering for years. And, nothing happens at the end of the day. So I think it's quite unfortunate, and I hope that, because this is another opportunity for them to go to the round table, now that the court has ruled again, because nobody is sure who will actually win at the Supreme Court, So, but if they don't resolve that crisis, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a big minus for the two parties. Unfortunately, like I said, there's no strong party,
the APC.
that can, that can come out to say, okay, we want to benefit from this division.